July 12th, here's a new entry. We're going to call it number 20. It's a female. I washed this off with a hose just because it was all dirty. Couldn't get the pattern. Length is 165. Width's 118. Dome 74. Weighs 780 grams. With the scale, the caliper. There's the data I just put in the logbook. It's similar to number 8. This is the last recovery data, and I've updated this to show what is the last entry. The latest entry for each one that I've measured the dome length and width. And since they generally don't get smaller with time, the dome height's probably the most reliable thing to use. So 74 millimeters here is close to number 8. The length of 165, it could be that. Width 117, very good match to this. Take the weight, 100 grams more, could be that. Here's some notches that were on number 8, which are not there, but it's been about a year later. So that's kind of a clue that may or may not be there. And a year ago I added a notch to the number 1 o'clock position, which could be that, but in looking at the pictures and video of this, it's got a totally different pattern. So this was almost a good match, but the shell pattern's totally different. So that's why this is a new entry. Just for kicks, if you measure the rings, this is major 10 versus 17. So I've gone through and just counted the deeper ones. From here, get about 10. If you kind of just went through and counted the minor ones too, they add up to maybe 17, 20. That doesn't really mean anything, but I just was kind of curious. There's a notch right there. It's probably raccoon damage. It's got a smooth bottom. It's got a slight undercut here, which could be a male, but that doesn't. Generally, female or males have got a deeper undercut. And then it has marks here, probably because the male's been on top. But generally, a high dome height is a female. This one's boxed up, so we're going to call it number 20. Let me put this on top of this pattern. That's why I really need to put an RFID on these, or just use the shell pattern. So this is the turtle number. This is the dome, the length, the width, as measured with a caliper. This is the mass with the scale. Use the brick to tear it out. This mark may last a couple months, so that just helps IDing it if I see it in a month or two. So this table is showing that if this is April this year, I've updated the mass so that I can compare this to. So in this first sighting here, today June 12th, if you look at the dome 74, you can rule out all the ones that are way larger than that, unless there's a blunder. So here's 16. But then this one was 180 in length. This is 165. Now that could be true if there's a bunch of shell damage here, because it gets gnawed on by a raccoon. 138 to 118, so that completely rules this one out. It's not going to get narrower by 20 millimeters instantly in 1-2 months. So if you go down here, let's say it was this one and I had a blunder in the measurement. Usually you can measure it within a couple millimeters. Still, these two parameters are way off, so it can't be that. It could be number 10. 168, 124. Let's say I was off a little bit on this one. I looked at the video on this one and ruled out 10 because the pattern's different. Go down to number 8. Now that's the first one that is a very close match. These parameters are all very close. 74, 153. It's a little bit longer today. Width's about the same. Mass 100 grams more, but that varies all over the place, whether they're gravid, pregnant, whatever, time of the year. But the shell pattern's different, so I ruled that one out. I went through and looked at videos I had and pictures and had to rule out all these. I know it's not number 1 or 3 because those are locals around here. Number 4 has got a huge notch on it from mower damage, so I know it's not number 4. There's a remote possibility it could be 5, but I looked at the video on that one and it's different, or 6. So that's why this is a new entry. But with every new entry on here, there's a possibility that I'm duplicating an old one, so it gets harder to go back to rule out what's what. Nobody home. So we're going to put it back right here where we found it.